When I returned to China after that eye-opening experience with the internet, I knew I had to act. But starting a business was not easy. In 1995, nobody in China really knew what the internet was. And to be honest, neither did I. Still, I was determined. I approached the local registry to register my internet company. And that's when I heard something that made me laugh and feel challenged at the same time. The officer told me, the word internet doesn't exist in our dictionary. Imagine that. It was a symbol of how early we were, how much ahead of the curve we needed to be. But instead of being discouraged, I decided to move forward. I named my company Hangzhou Hope. I like the word hope because it represents something intangible but powerful. At the time, I knew nothing about technology. Absolutely nothing. I wasn't a tech expert, and that was clear to everyone. But what I did understand was people, and more importantly, the potential impact the internet could have on people's lives. Sometimes we get stuck thinking we need to be experts to start something big. But I've learned that expertise can be developed along the way. What truly matters is vision and passion. In those early days, we faced a lot of challenges. People said, you can't make money with the internet in China. They thought it was impossible to succeed in a society that wasn't used to buying things online. But I believe that when you're trying to build something new, you can't be afraid of failure. You have to embrace it. So I pressed on, even though we had little funding, no technology, and no backing from big corporations. Sometimes it's not about what you have, but what you believe in. I knew that if I could build something meaningful, everything else would follow. I often reflect on how we were pioneers without a roadmap. But that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You create the map as you go. And in doing so, you learn to trust yourself, even when the odds are stacked against you. My advice to every entrepreneur is this: don't wait for the perfect time or for people to understand your vision. If you see the future clearly, move toward it, because that's where you'll find success. And even if others don't believe in you, remember, the journey is yours to take. As I navigated those early years, I often thought of Forrest Gump, a film that deeply resonated with me. Forrest's simplicity, his focus, and his resilience taught me a lot about staying true to yourself. When people called me foolish for pursuing the internet, I remembered Forrest's words, never care about what others think. It's that kind of mindset that helped me move forward, even when everything around me seemed uncertain. I have always drawn inspiration from unlikely places, and one of my greatest sources is the film Forrest Gump. You might wonder why. What does a simple, slow-witted man from a movie have to do with building one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world? Well, a lot more than you might think. Forrest Gump taught me something fundamental. Life isn't always about being the smartest or the fastest. It's about perseverance, resilience, and staying focused on your goals. There's a line from the movie that has always stuck with me. Never care about what others think. I've carried that sentiment with me throughout my journey with Alibaba. When I first started building Alibaba, people thought I was crazy. They laughed, called me foolish, and told me it was impossible to build an internet company in China, but I didn't let that stop me. Like Forrest Gump, I kept running, kept pushing forward. No matter how many times I heard no, I learned that the path to success is often paved with rejection, but it's those who keep moving who eventually reach their destination. In the 17 years of building Alibaba, I've been called many things: foolish, crazy, even stupid. But none of that matters if you believe in your vision. Forrest taught me to keep going, to never lose sight of what's important. And what's important is to have the courage to stick to your dreams, even when everyone else thinks you're lost. The truth is, most people don't understand the path you're on. They can't see your vision, and they don't need to. Your job as an entrepreneur is to believe in yourself when no one else does. Forrest's story is simple yet profound. It reminds us that you don't need to be a genius to succeed. What you need is heart, determination, and the ability to stand firm when times are tough. If you can do that, you can achieve anything. And that's what I did with Alibaba. I wasn't the smartest person in the room. In fact, I often tell people that I'm not very good at technology, but I'm good with people. And more importantly, I understood what the future could be if we just kept pushing forward. Success is not about how smart you are. It's about how much you believe in what you're doing. That's why I encourage everyone to find inspiration in the most unexpected places. For me, it was Forrest Gump. For you, it might be something entirely different. The key is to find what drives you and hold on to it, no matter what obstacles come your way. Just like Forrest kept running, you must keep moving forward one step at a time until you reach your goals. When we started working on Alipay, most people thought it was a terrible idea. They said, "Jack, this will never work. It's too risky, and it might even be illegal." But I saw things differently. In my view, without a solution for online payments, e-commerce in China had no future. I knew that if we didn't solve this problem, the entire digital economy we were trying to build would collapse. So, despite all the criticism and doubt, we pushed forward. Alipay was born out of necessity. The idea was simple. Create a system that would hold the buyer's money in escrow until the product was delivered and approved. People called it crazy, and some even warned that I could go to jail for it. But as an entrepreneur, you can't always play it safe. If you're constantly afraid of failure, you'll never innovate. I took a risk because I believed that it was worth it, not just for my company, but for the entire e-commerce ecosystem in China. People often ask me how I had the courage to move forward with such a controversial idea. My answer is always the same. If you want to solve a big problem, you have to take big risks. At that time, Alipay was considered by many to be a foolish gamble. But I believed in its potential because I knew it would bring trust to online transactions. And trust is the foundation of all business. Without it, you have nothing. I like to remind entrepreneurs that fear of failure is the enemy of progress. The greatest innovations often come from taking bold risks in the face of uncertainty. Alipay wasn't just about creating a payment platform. It was about building the infrastructure for a new kind of economy. And even though the road was difficult, I knew that success would come if we stayed focused on solving real problems for real people. Looking back, I realized that Alipay was one of the most important decisions we made at Alibaba. It transformed the way people did business in China, and it laid the foundation for the growth of the entire e-commerce industry. If we hadn't taken that risk, Alibaba might not exist as it does today. So, my advice to anyone reading this is simple. Don't be afraid to take risks, especially when you believe in what you're doing. Success often comes to those who dare to do what others won't. When we first introduced e-commerce in China, we faced a massive cultural barrier. You see, Chinese society was deeply rooted in traditional ways of doing business. People were used to making deals face-to-face, building relationships in person, and trusting only those within their own networks. The idea of buying or selling something online to a stranger seemed completely absurd to many. But I knew that if we could overcome these cultural challenges, e-commerce would revolutionize the way business was done in China. It wasn't easy, though. We had to build trust where none existed. Convincing both buyers and sellers to trust an online system was one of the biggest obstacles we faced. I often found myself explaining that the internet wasn't just a tool for communication. It could be the future of commerce itself. I told people, if we can build trust in online transactions, we can create opportunities that were never possible before. That's the power of technology. It breaks down barriers, both cultural and economic. But as with all innovation, it takes time to change people's minds. We had to be patient, persistent, and most importantly, we had to show results. People don't just believe in ideas, they believe in results. We started small, but gradually, as more people experienced the convenience and security of online shopping, their mindset began to change. Trust was built over time, and as more buyers and sellers joined the platform, we created an entire ecosystem of e-commerce. It wasn't just about selling products. It was about creating a new way of thinking about business. And that's what technology does. It doesn't just change industries, it changes cultures. The lesson here is simple. When you're introducing something new, especially in a traditional market, you must be ready to face resistance. But that resistance is also an opportunity. If you can solve the underlying problems and build trust, you'll unlock tremendous value. And that's exactly what we did with Alibaba. One of the most important lessons I've learned in my journey is this: success is about solving problems, especially the big ones that impact society. When I started Alibaba, my goal was not just to build a company, it was to create something that could help millions of people. That's why I always encourage entrepreneurs to ask themselves, what problem am I solving? If your business is only about making money, it's not enough. You have to focus on the value you're providing and how it helps society as a whole. At Alibaba, we realized early on that the key to our success would be solving real problems for small businesses. In China, many small enterprises struggled to reach customers beyond their local communities. They didn't have the resources or the networks to expand their reach. We saw an opportunity to bridge that gap through the internet. By connecting these businesses with buyers across the country and eventually around the world, we helped them grow in ways they had never imagined. And as they grew, so did Alibaba. I believe that the bigger the problem you solve, the more successful you will become. Think about it. The companies that have had the greatest impact on the world, like Alibaba, Microsoft, or Google, are the ones that tackled massive global challenges. They didn't just build products. They built solutions that changed the way people lived and worked. And that's the kind of success I've always aspired to. It's not just about profit. It's about making a real difference in people's lives. I often tell entrepreneurs that if you want to succeed, don't focus solely on the competition. Instead, focus on the problem you're trying to solve. The more value you provide, the more people will support your business. It's a simple principle, but one that's often overlooked. The best companies aren't the ones that are driven by profits. They're the ones driven by purpose. And when your purpose is clear, the success will follow naturally. In the end, solving social problems is not just good for society, it's good for business. When you help people, they remember. When you solve their problems, they come back. That's why at Alibaba, we've always focused on creating value for the communities we serve. It's a strategy that not only helped us grow, but also allowed us to make a positive impact on millions of lives. And I believe that's the true measure of success. If there's one thing my journey has taught me, it's that resilience is the foundation of success. I've faced countless rejections and failures throughout my life. I was rejected from 30 different jobs, including one at KFC. I applied to Harvard 10 times and was turned down every single time. But every rejection made me stronger. Every time I was told no, I used it as an opportunity to learn and improve. The key to success is not avoiding failure. It's learning to embrace it and use it to fuel your growth. I often remind people that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of it. When you're building something new, setbacks are inevitable. But how you respond to those setbacks will determine whether you succeed or fail in the long run. I remember when I first started Alibaba, things were incredibly difficult. We had no money, no technology, and no contacts. But we had one thing that kept us going: resilience. We refused to give up no matter how hard things got. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from failure. It's about seeing failure as an opportunity. Every time we hit a roadblock at Alibaba, we asked ourselves, what can we learn from this? How can we turn this challenge into an advantage? That mindset allowed us to grow stronger with each setback. And that's the mindset every entrepreneur needs to adopt if they want to succeed in the long term. It's not about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them head on and using them to your advantage. The truth is, success is not a straight line. It's a series of ups and downs, of wins and losses, but the most successful people are the ones who keep going, even when the odds are against them. They understand that resilience is the key to turning failures into opportunities. And that's the lesson I want to pass on to every aspiring entrepreneur. Never give up. No matter how many times you fall, get back up. Because resilience is what will carry you through the hardest times and lead you to success. Looking back, I realized that all those rejections I faced early on were blessings in disguise. They made me tougher, more determined, and more focused on what I wanted to achieve. And in the end, that resilience paid off. So if you're facing challenges right now, remember, every setback is a setup for a comeback. Keep going, stay resilient, and success will come. One of the most important lessons I've learned is that failure is the greatest teacher. When I first started Alibaba, I failed many times. My first website didn't take off, and many of my early ideas were met with resistance. But every failure taught me something valuable. Instead of seeing failure as a setback, I saw it as a chance to learn, adapt, and grow. Without those early mistakes, I wouldn't be where I am today. I often tell young people that failure is not something to be feared. It's something to be embraced. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who avoided failure. They're the ones who learned from it. Every mistake is an opportunity to gain new insights and refine your approach. That's what I did with Alibaba. When things didn't go as planned, I didn't give up. I adjusted my strategy, learned from the experience, and came back stronger. One of the greatest misconceptions about success is that it happens overnight. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Success is built on a foundation of failures. It's through trial and error that we find what works. And sometimes the best lessons come from the biggest failures. I always remind myself that if I hadn't failed in my early ventures, Alibaba might not exist today. Failure gave me the clarity and determination I needed to succeed. I believe that entrepreneurs should see failure as a stepping stone to success. The more you fail, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the closer you get to achieving your goals. It's a process of continuous improvement, and it requires a mindset of resilience and perseverance. Every failure is a lesson, and every lesson brings you one step closer to success. So don't be afraid to fail. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to propel you forward. As I like to say, failure is the price you pay for success. The more you're willing to fail, the more you'll grow. And in the end, it's that growth that will lead you to achieve your dreams. I believe the future is in the hands of young people. When we started Alibaba, we were just 18 people working out of a small apartment. We had no money, no technology, and no contacts. But we had one thing, the belief that the future was ours to shape. Today, young people have even more opportunities than we ever did. They have the internet, smartphones, and access to knowledge that we couldn't even dream of. That's why I always tell them, the future is not something you wait for. It's something you create. I often remind young people that they are the true hope for a better world. With the right education and the right tools, they have the power to change the world in ways we can't even imagine. But the key is to act now. The future doesn't wait for anyone, and the decisions you make today will determine where you end up tomorrow. That's why I believe so strongly in the combination of education and technology. It's the foundation on which the future will be built. I also tell young people that the future is not some distant concept. It's happening right now. Every innovation, every breakthrough is shaping the world we'll live in tomorrow. So if you want to be a part of that future, you need to start today. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission or show you the way. Use the tools you have at your disposal and start creating the future you want to see. That's what we did at Alibaba, and that's what every young person has the power to do. The world is changing faster than ever before, and technology is at the heart of that change. But it's not just about technology, it's about people. The future will be shaped by those who have the vision, the courage, and the creativity to solve the world's biggest problems. And I believe that young people, with their energy and fresh perspective, are the ones who will lead us into that future. So, my message to young people is simple. The future is now. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it will never come. Start where you are, use what you have, and take action. The future belongs to those who are willing to create it. And I have no doubt that the young generation is capable of building a future that is brighter, more inclusive, and full of endless possibilities.
In one of the most eye-opening talks, Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, delivered a powerful message that left the audience both inspired and rethinking their approach to life and business. Reflecting on his humble beginnings and countless failures, Jack Ma reminded everyone why fear of the future is a waste of time. He shared how his first encounter with the internet in 1995, as someone who had never even touched a computer, sparked a vision that would eventually lead to the creation of one of the largest e-commerce platforms in the world. Throughout the speech, Ma explained how embracing failure, staying resilient, and having the courage to dream big, even when others think you're crazy, are the true keys to success. His candid stories, like being rejected from 30 different jobs or struggling to register his first internet company in China, resonated deeply with anyone who's ever faced rejection or doubt. But Jack Ma's message was clear. The future belongs to those who are willing to take risks and solve big problems. With a strong focus on the power of innovation and the importance of resilience, Jack Ma encouraged young people to act now and use the tools at their disposal to create the future they want to see. He emphasized that the future isn't something far off in the distance. It's happening right now. The way we choose to use our time and our talents today will shape the world of tomorrow. This was more than just a motivational speech. It was a call to action. Jack Ma's insights on time management, personal growth, and goal setting challenged the audience to stop fearing the unknown and start building the future. Whether you're an entrepreneur or someone striving for personal development, his words were a reminder that the only real failure is giving up. Jack Ma's journey is a testament to the power of resilience. Imagine being rejected from 30 different jobs or turned down by Harvard not once, but 10 times. Most people would give up. But not Jack Ma. His experiences of rejection became the foundation for his future success, a constant reminder that failure is simply a stepping stone to greater opportunities. This resilience, according to Ma, is essential for entrepreneurs who want to achieve their goals. It's not about how many times you fall, but how many times you stand up. For Jack Ma, resilience isn't just about withstanding rejection. It's about embracing it. Every setback he faced was a lesson, pushing him closer to his vision. When starting Alibaba, he encountered countless obstacles, but each one made him more determined. Resilience is the ability to see challenges as fuel for growth. For aspiring entrepreneurs, this means learning to navigate the storms, using failures as opportunities to innovate and improve. Jack Ma's message is clear. Resilience isn't just a trait, it's a strategy for long-term success. Think about it this way. If every failure teaches you something, then failure becomes your greatest teacher. Jack Ma's story is a perfect example of how persistence can turn the impossible into reality. Entrepreneurs often expect smooth sailing, but the truth is that the path to success is filled with bumps. It's those who persist, who adapt, and who learn from each failure that truly make it. And with resilience, even the biggest setbacks can become the catalysts for transformative growth. For Jack Ma, failure was never the end. It was always the beginning of something greater. He once attempted to create his first website and failed. However, instead of seeing this as a defeat, he saw it as a crucial learning experience. In his eyes, failures are essential for growth as they allow you to reassess your approach and adjust your vision. Jack Ma believes that failures are the stepping stones to success, teaching lessons that success often overlooks. Embracing failure as part of the journey is a mindset shift that Jack Ma encourages every entrepreneur to adopt. It's not about avoiding mistakes, but learning how to handle them when they happen. According to Ma, failure is the best teacher because it offers invaluable insights into what went wrong and how to improve. When Alibaba faced tough times, he used those moments of failure to pivot and find new solutions, knowing that each setback brought them closer to success. Jack Ma often reminds us that many people fear failure because they see it as an end. But in reality, failure is the beginning of something better. Entrepreneurs should welcome failure, not shy away from it. By learning from mistakes, we become better equipped to face future challenges with confidence. It's about using every setback as a tool for refining your strategy, gaining wisdom, and moving forward with a clearer vision. Jack Ma's success is deeply rooted in his ability to think far ahead. Unlike many entrepreneurs who focus on short-term gains, Ma always had a vision for the future. He consistently emphasizes that businesses should make decisions today with the next 10 to 30 years in mind. This long-term perspective allowed Alibaba to grow steadily, positioning the company to weather future challenges and take advantage of emerging opportunities. Thinking long-term means preparing for the inevitable changes and disruptions that come with innovation. Jack Ma believes that companies that focus only on immediate success often miss out on sustainable growth. By keeping an eye on the future, Ma was able to guide Alibaba through tough times, ensuring that the company not only survived but thrived in a rapidly changing market. This approach is a reminder that patience, coupled with a long-term vision, is key to lasting success. In a world where everyone wants instant results, Ma's philosophy stands out. He encourages entrepreneurs to plant seeds today that will grow into something much bigger down the line. This requires patience, discipline, and the willingness to invest in future possibilities, even if the rewards aren't immediate. By maintaining a long-term focus, businesses can build resilience and adaptability, ensuring they are prepared for whatever challenges the future holds. Jack Ma is a firm believer that businesses thrive when they focus on solving real societal problems. In his eyes, the greater the problem you solve, the greater your potential for success. He often challenges entrepreneurs to ask themselves, "What problem am I solving?" Ma emphasizes that the most successful companies don't just chase profits, they focus on creating value for society. And when businesses align their goals with the needs of the community, financial success naturally follows. This principle was key to Alibaba's massive success. Jack Ma didn't just create an e-commerce platform. He built a solution that empowered small businesses in China to reach global markets. By focusing on how to solve real-world problems, Alibaba became a force for positive change in the business world. Ma's approach teaches entrepreneurs that true innovation comes from understanding society's needs and creating solutions that make people's lives better. Solving societal problems is not just good business, it's a moral imperative. Jack Ma believes that the future belongs to companies that have a mission beyond profits. By tackling social challenges like inequality, environmental sustainability, or access to education, businesses can play a critical role in shaping a better future. Ma's message to entrepreneurs is clear. If you want to build a lasting legacy, solve a problem that matters to society. Jack Ma's outlook on the future is centered on the belief that the future isn't something distant. It's being created right now. He firmly believes that the power to shape a better world lies in the hands of young people. According to Ma, the youth possess the energy, creativity, and mindset needed to drive meaningful change. But for them to realize their full potential, they need access to quality education and modern technology, which are the tools that will empower them to build a better future. For Jack Ma, empowering the youth means investing in their education and giving them the resources to innovate. He's an advocate for equipping young people with the skills they need to succeed in an increasingly digital and competitive world. He emphasizes that the future isn't something we should wait for. It's something we need to actively build today. By encouraging young people to take action now, Ma believes that they can solve the pressing issues of today while also laying the groundwork for tomorrow's innovations. The idea that the future is now challenges the conventional thinking that change takes time. Jack Ma argues that with the right motivation and the right tools, young people can start creating solutions today that will transform the world tomorrow. He calls on the next generation to be bold, to embrace technology, and to use their creativity to solve problems. The future is in their hands, and the time to act is now. After hearing all these powerful insights from Jack Ma, it's clear that success is not about avoiding failure, but about embracing it and turning it into fuel for your future. The real question now is, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you let fear hold you back, or will you use the lessons shared today to move forward with confidence and resilience? The choice is yours, but remember, the future starts with the actions you take today. So, I challenge you, take these lessons to heart. Apply them to your life and your business. Comment below and share which part of Jack Ma's story resonated the most with you. And remember, whenever you need a boost of motivation, come back and watch this video again. Let Jack Ma's journey remind you that no matter how many times you fall, it's getting back up that truly counts. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can keep learning from these incredible lessons. And if you're ready for more inspiration, be sure to check out the next video titled How Dreaming High Made Jack Ma a Billionaire, His Advice to You, where we dive deeper into building a resilient mindset for long-term success. The future is waiting. What are you going to do about it?